Hello there, this is Dr. Dell, and I'm answering some questions that have been asking me about 21st century math education. And I'm going to now today, the first three were really all about math, and there's more about math. Question number 4 is really quite challenging for me to answer. Here's the question. You often say belief is everything, and it's true, I do say that. How does this principle influence your teaching philosophy? And how can students and educators apply it in their own journeys? Now, the truth is this goes way beyond just math. When I was about 10 years old and I was going to a Sunday school in a Nazarene church, I had a wonderful Sunday school teacher named Theron York, and he taught me a lot of things. I believe, for example, in the golden rule. And that's got nothing to do with religion, really. I think the golden rule is something that will just give you a better life and judge not others. And the things that are taught in the New Testament, I believe, are true beyond just anything to do with religion. And one of the things he taught me was, it's in the New Testament, is what you believe can cause something to happen. You know, there's a story about if you have the belief of something, it'll move a mountain. And the question is, how do you even get a belief? Now, one thing that's very important is a belief is not the same as a desire. We all have things we want to happen. What do we believe is going to happen? And how do you create your beliefs is a big question. Now, I'm not going to get into that. I don't want this video to last a long, long time, but that is the challenge that I think we all have. And I learned to do that myself by telling myself lots of stories and having certain experiences. And I've had many things in my life now that I believed would happen, kind of improbable, really, but I believed in them and they happened. And so how can this apply to teaching math? Well, one of the things that can influence a belief is an experience you have. For example, do you believe that if you touch a hot stove, it will burn you? Well, there's science that you can study and you can learn that scientifically, but you can have an experience. If you go up and touch a hot stove and it burns you, I believe hot stoves will burn me. You may not understand the physics of it. You may not understand heat. You don't know science. You don't know math. You just had an experience. I think our experiences have a lot to do with what we believe. And that's influenced by lots of things. Well, let's talk about math now. A lot of students struggle with math and they don't think they can learn math and they don't think it's going to do them any good. And that's a belief system. If you don't believe math's going to be of any value to you, why are you going to study it? If you don't believe that you can learn it, then why are you going to try? Okay, so what we have to do to make a student successful is turn their belief around. Now, how do you think I do that? If you've watched my first 3 videos, you might have an idea, you might know the answer, and you certainly would know it by the time you watch the rest of my videos, but I'm going to stop sharing the screen and I'm going to tell you how we do it and how I do it. I take a student, and it could be a beginning student that likes math, or it can be a student that doesn't like math. Doesn't matter. I want them to believe that math can be important and that they're capable of learning it. So what do? I take this $10 TI-30XA scientific calculator and I say, look, I'm going to teach you how you can do all of your arithmetic with this calculator. You can do it. And so then I start out and I have 16 lessons, by the way. And by the way, half the things this calculator does, they'll never use, and I don't teach it. I teach the things that they're going to need in their life, their practical life. So first I have to teach them how to turn on the calculator. Then I start teaching them things, basic things. How do you add numbers? Okay, they probably know that 3 plus 4 is 7. I say, fine, take 3, hit plus, hit 4, hit equals, and you got 7. As a matter of fact, I sometimes take really young children, and instead of flashcards, I have them use a calculator to learn like the addition table. I do believe we all need to know basic addition and basic multiplication. I think you need to know that 9 times 8 is, what is it? 72. But if you don't know it, you go to the calculator and say 9 times 8 equals, what do you think it is? I don't know. 72? Yep, 72. Now, when you get into start doing math, practical math, you have to calculate bigger numbers. There's an algorithm to do that, but it's difficult to learn and master. It's easy to make mistakes. So, okay, what is 27 times 68? Bingo, 36. Just that easy. 6. Calculator did it. You could do all your multiplication. Division. What if you have 347 and I want to divide that by 17? Well, there's a way to do it manually. In fact, the schools often teach it. Not me. 20.41, and there's a bunch of digits to follow. Well, I don't want all those digits. I just want to see 2 digits. Fix the decimal. Fix it to where this shows 20.41. I teach how to do that. All that I do. Now, what happens is it's kinesthetic. It's a little bit like playing a game. They can do it. And what I get out of it, what students say over and over is, oh, this is easy. This can't be math. This is too easy. This can't be math. As a matter of fact, Aaron Farley gives a great testimonial. I'm going to have another video about testimonial. And he was a math teacher and head of a school in Maine. And he used our program for a whole bunch of his students. And they couldn't believe it. They said, well, this can't be math. It's too easy. Guess what? When the right content is taught with spike pedagogy, it doesn't get any harder. And I tell them that. Well, okay, here's what I'm going to tell you, Mr. Student. Math's not going to get any harder than you're learning to use this calculator. I teach them the rules of arithmetic. That's 10 lessons. Make sure they know the rules of arithmetic. They probably know it. Depends on what they've been taught. Then we do algebra, 10 lessons. But algebra is easy when you can do the arithmetic that you've got to do with algebra with the calculator. Practical algebra I'm talking about. So what we do is to get their belief right is we get them started with a calculator and they believe that they can do that. Now, I also tell them that the math I'm going to teach them in the beginning for the foundation, practical math, will have all sorts of applications in their life. In all sorts of things you do. And it'll also then get you ready for technical jobs that you might do that otherwise you can't do. If you don't know practical math, there's all sorts of technical jobs you just can't do because they assume you know the math, practical math. Once you know it, so that's what belief's all about. So I get the student's belief right, and sometimes I call it the psychology of the student. Same thing, the psychology, the belief, and how do I do it? Content. Start with a calculator. Pedagogy. Now, that's the way I teach it. It's not in a classroom. It's self-paced, spike pedagogy. I talked about in another video, and I've got to teach that. You need to understand spike pedagogy. The only way you can teach a student math properly is spike pedagogy. Now, you can't do it in a classroom. I can't do it in a classroom. I don't think any teacher can do it in a classroom with all the students. Do it with a few maybe, but not all of them. The slow ones can't keep up. The fast ones get bored. And so that's what belief's all about as far as math goes. And we get their belief turned around. Then I also tell them, now, if you can learn math, just think of all the other things you can learn. You'll be able to learn all sorts of other technical subjects now. As a matter of fact, what keeps people from learning hydraulics or pneumatics or mechanical or electrical or whatever is the math they can't do. Once they can do the math, the practical math, they can do all these other technical things. So this belief goes beyond practical math now. It goes into other things they can do. And they can go out now. If you want to go to college, that's fine and dandy. And I have other places where I teach you how to do that with no debt. But a lot of students don't need to go to college. They just need to go out into the workforce, into the technical workforce. Some go to the military. This gets you ready for the military big time. Or a technical field. You go to a trade school or an apprentice program or whatever. So belief's all about it. So I think we start out by getting them where they believe and how do they believe it? Because they can do it. You believe something if you can do it. Now, can you apply it to other things beyond and technical field? Can you apply it beyond that? Yeah, probably so. But we'll do that on another video sometime maybe. That gets a little more philosophical now. So this is Craig Hain, Dr. Dell. I hope that answered the question. It's a hard question to answer. And I'll see you on some other questions that are more math-oriented that are maybe easier to answer. Hope you have a great life. Hope you believe in yourself. Bye-bye.